Good evening, Lizzie boys, and welcome back to my channel. It's been a few months since I made a video like this. I believe my last one was in January, but today I wanted to cover some interesting Monster High prototypes, test shots, hand-painted dolls, basically any kind of prototype that there is. There is this account on Instagram that's been documenting them all. It's ran by Dollsfordessert, who is someone who owns a ton of prototypes. So it only makes sense that they would know all about them. They've posted so many, and they gave me permission to use the content for a video, so I'm going to do just that, because I love prototypes. Sorry, this is sounding a little disordered. I'm disordered. So we're going to be talking about these prototypes, and yeah, let's just get into it, I guess. First and foremost, if you're interested in seeing more prototypes, this is the archive account I was talking about. It's just called Monster High Prototypes on Instagram. Feel free to check it out. I highly recommend it. One of the first prototypes I wanted to talk about is this engineering pilot of Dawn of the Dance Draculaura. She was sold on Taobao, and it's unknown who owns them. Well, who owns this doll, I mean. I don't know why I said them like it's multiple. This Draculaura is very interesting, and as you can see, all the pieces are modeled after the Dawn of the Dance pieces, because that's how engineering pilots work. They were just testing how the molds worked, and if everything would look good together in the sort of shape that it was supposed to be in. The only thing that looks pretty similar to how the final turned out is the bow behind her back. It's a different color, a bit lighter, I believe, but yeah. I don't recognize the print on the dress, but I'm assuming it's a Barbie print, and overall, this is just a very fascinating doll. I like her. I wish that we knew who owned her so we could maybe get some more photos of her. And something else interesting is that in the original Dawn of the Dance in-box photo, the doll looks very similar to this Draculaura. You may notice that her face is very different here. It's using the original Draculaura's face because, you know, at the time that was the only other Draculaura doll that had been released, because Dawn of the Dance was the second ever released line. So they used the original Draculaura's face here, as they usually do for engineering pilots like this. We have two other engineering pilots to talk about. These two, which I had honestly never seen before. There is a Draculaura, so it's another Sweet 1600 engineering pilot, and I've discussed that before, so feel free to check out my other videos on this topic if you would like to see her. But these two had never been seen before. They were both sold on eBay for $25 each and are owned by, I don't know how to say that username, Oxypox? Yeah. So these are really interesting. As you can see, they use the Dawn of the Dance. What? No. Frankie's is Gloom Beach, I believe, but Claudine is Dawn of the Dance. Yeah. So as I was saying, Claudine uses the original Dawn of the Dance face, but has the rooting and similar outfit silhouette. Well, it's the exact same silhouette. They just used a different print for the pants. Claudine is interesting to me because her pieces look pretty final. They just used white fuzz instead of black. The belt has a stripe on it that I don't recall the final doll having. But the pants are completely different. They use the same print as Gloom Beach Claudine's bathing suit. As for Frankie, she uses a completely different material. I believe it might be from a Barbie, because most of the time when they make these engineering pilots, they use what's available, so the chances of this being from a Barbie doll is very likely. But yeah, these two are interesting. I've never seen them before this account posted them. The next prototype I want to discuss is this packaging sample of I Heart Shoes Cleo. As you can see, the majority of her pieces seem pretty final. I'm unsure if those black shoes are final though. Did she come with them in the final doll? I feel like they were purple on the final release, but I'm not sure. The doll is pretty close to final, and this is just a packaging test. You can see that they used what was available and seems to be just leftover black Monster High cardboard. The part where her name is supposed to be and her symbol are supposed to be are just completely blacked out, and the back of the box is solid black, but I didn't put a picture of it on the screen because I wanted to show you this Frankie as well. So as you can see, it's a bit more clear here, but they were able to get the Monster High logo in the right place as well as the big crest for it, and they even put the proper shape of where Frankie's name and the little beach symbol was supposed to go. And interestingly, Frankie's pose is different in box here. Her arm is raised as opposed to both being resting on her hips. The exclusive to Justice sticker is also missing, but that's not necessary here since I'm pretty sure when stores get exclusives like that, they put the stickers on themselves. So yeah, obviously it's not going to be there. This is what the back of Frankie's box looks like. There, you can see that there's like some internal code stuff at the bottom. The seller of these apparently had connections at Mattel, which is how they were able to acquire and sell these on eBay, because these were sold on eBay. But if you try to look them up now, you won't be able to find them, but you can find them if you go on eBay's archive site, WorthPoint. Obviously, they're not available for sale there, they're just advertising the fact that they were sold. Well, not really advertising, I meant archiving. I'm really good at talking, if you can't tell. This Frankie's just really interesting to me. These two, like, have the same sort of box style, and I believe it makes sense, because I think that they were released in the same year, so it makes sense that their test boxes would look similar. They were probably, like, made around the same time. And I don't know, I just like this sort of stuff. This stuff has also been referred to as a test shot, and these would also count as a test shot since they just use what's available. And that's basically what these are as well. Test shots. The dolls are finalized, as you can see, because there is very little difference between the Frankie dolls. I'd say the only difference is the bangs. Like, the stripes look a bit more chunky on the final release doll, but they seem a bit more, like, spread out on the test shot doll. Yeah, that's, like, the only difference that I can see. But yeah, very interesting stuff. Next up, we have another test shot box sample. This time it is of Sweet Scream's Draculaura and uses a lot more assorted materials. As you can see, most of the doll's accessories are nowhere near final, and the doll is pretty cool looking, honestly. I like it. You can see that her arms are a completely unique mold. They're made out of that brownish plastic because she had gloves that were molded onto her skin, so obviously they couldn't just use regular arms, they had to use the mold that was designed for her gloves. It's the same with what's around her hair, and here she is next to a finalized Draculaura doll, just so you can see all the differences. It's cool. I really like it. It's interesting to me, though, that the skirt looks very final, but the top isn't. And it seems like her, shawl, I'm gonna call it, the thing that goes over her shoulders and has the collar on it, also looks very finalized. I don't know, it's just fascinating to me that some pieces are finalized for this test and others aren't. The doll is wearing socks, I believe. They're just very invisible. I can hardly see them. As you can see, for the box shape and such, they used the Haunt the Casbah Frankie box as the base of it, but you can also see Picture Day stuff in the background, which also seems to be a Picture Day box. We also have a photo of the back of the box because this is also from an eBay listing, and the back of it is the 13 Wishes box. It's cool. I really like test shots like this. They're honestly my favorite type of prototype. Like, they're just so interesting to look at. I covered a bunch of test shots in my last prototype video. I really think you guys should check it out. And yeah, I want to make a video just documenting every single test shot, and I think I will at some point, but for now, we can just stick to me rambling about them for way longer than I should in these videos. Next up, we have some more test shots, and I know it's cringe, it's G2 stuff, but we have these test shots of Laguna and Draculaura in their unarticulated versions. So, these are kind of fascinating to me because they use a lot of Barbie packaging, and it's all cut out in the shape of the artworks of the characters, which is just very funny to me. Like, they just cut it out in the perfect shape. I don't know, it just amuses me. So the only things that are finalized here are Draculaura and Laguna's heads. It seems to me like Laguna's arms are final too because they do actually match her skin. But nothing else is. The bow on Draculaura's head in final release was pink, so that's a test shot. The dresses that both dolls are wearing use the same pattern and are both test shots. I think the only final thing about them might be the ribbons around them. Like the ribbons on Draculaura's arms, those look final. The ribbon around Laguna's waist, that might be finalized. I have no idea. And on the back of the box, it's, again, just a bunch of Barbie cardboard. There's also this close-up of Claudine, and honestly, this one looks the best. Claudine seems pretty finalized. Her body doesn't appear to be hand-painted in any way, but also, I'm not the owner, so I don't know. The person who owns these, I think we might be able to message them and ask questions. I could try. I'm just curious if any of these have any, like, hand-painted properties, because sometimes test shots will be hand-painted, and underneath they'll use, like, these discolored and random colored plastics just as the base, and then they paint over it, kind of like perfectly color matching it. but that doesn't seem to be the case here. They were just testing the plastic rather than the bodies themselves. There's also this test shot of Claudine, and her body seems like textured almost. It almost makes me think like, it kind of looks like, I was gonna say it looks like Cleo's body in G2, because she like had that bandage texture all over her. But now that I think about it, this is a test shot of those like Fearleading dolls, so it's most likely just the Fearleading top. The last prototype I wanted to talk about is this hand-painted Draculaura, because I realized I don't really give hand-painted prototypes enough love as I do the test shots. I don't know. I'm weird, I'm quirky, I like the ones that look weird like that. So, there we go. She's hand-painted, I believe. The original post actually just says that she's a prototype, but I can't tell what she is. Honestly, I think that she's hand-painted. She looks hand-painted to me. I just can't tell. But the post that I got this image from said that she's a prototype. I'm just not sure in what way. I'm assuming hand-painted, which is why I said that, but again, not positive. Regardless though, the doll looks great, and I would like the owner to give us some more photos of her, because if she is hand-painted, I definitely want like a close-up of her face. Like please, owner, if you're out there watching this, person who owns this doll, please take a close-up photo of her face and upload it online. Like I need to see the individual brush strokes if this doll is in fact hand-painted, or if she has any hand-painted aspects to her. Like I'll admit, the plastic around her neck looks a lot higher quality, or like a lot more transparent than the final doll's collar. So maybe that's what the prototype is, like she's got a prototype outfit. But whatever it is, I want a close-up. I want to know what is a prototype about this doll. Either way, she's stunning. Like, this is genuinely gorgeous. Overall, though, that's all I wanted to talk about today. Obviously, this account has a lot more prototype dolls to go through. If you guys would like to see more, I could show you guys some of my favorites from the account tomorrow, because you know, I definitely want to make another video on this subject. But yeah, my favorite prototypes are the test shots, so sorry if I talked about them a bit more than the other stuff. They're my favorites, so I want to talk about them. They're funky fresh, they look like cool and a little bit ugly, and that's why I like them so much. One of my all-time favorite prototypes I've ever seen was this gorgeous Wedona test shot, and when I say gorgeous, I mean like she's like 12 different colors. Like, she looked so fucked up, I loved it. But yeah. Overall, I love this topic. I love making videos about prototype Monster High dolls. I love making videos about prototypes in general. And honestly, my biggest wish as a collector is to someday own a prototype Monster High doll. I mean, I have a prototype Sonic plushie, but it's not the same. But yeah, overall, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, I hope to see you in my next one.